is it time to sit Caleb Williams? And my thought process behind this is I understand the value of reps, especially for a rookie quarterback. I also understand the accumulation of hits and pain that all quarterbacks go through, right? When it comes to most sack quarterbacks in the NFL of all time, period, David Carr at 76, Bryce Young at 62, and Caleb Williams at 56. The thing is, though, David Carr and Bryce Young both played 16 games. Those numbers. At this rate, Caleb Williams might just hit that 76 mark that David Carr did. And man, that's not any way to groom a quarterback. I always say you're not learning anything from just going out there and get your ass beat and getting your head smashed into the ground. And would it be more about, since the season's lost, this team is showing signs of giving up? Is it worth putting your rookie generational prospect quarterback in harm's way? Like, wouldn't that be the cherry on top if he winds up getting severely injured?
Excuse me. Perfect time to cough. I get where you're coming from. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it because there's so few things that we know about this year and about this team. One of the few things, I can't say I know it, but I feel like it's probably true, is Caleb Williams does feel not unbreakable in the physical sense, but I do feel like he is a mental giant instead of a mental midget, right? Like what we talk about. One of the few things that rookie quarterbacks and even especially Caleb Williams had a concern about was something like turnovers and making too much plays at the cost of making good plays. He has one of the best like turnover ratios in the league this year. It's almost 4-1. He has 18 touchdowns and 5 picks. So I think he's mentally strong, and I don't feel like necessarily the sacks are piling up in the way that I think you're worrying about them, because I think he takes them intelligently. I remember talking to you at the beginning of the year about what Joe Burrow says. And yesterday specifically, I can't believe he took 7 sacks, which is even crazier. But Joe Burrow was saying something about when Joe Burrow was the highest sack quarterback in the league that year, and I think they went to the Super Bowl. He said, it's different. I take sacks when I know that I can. So he's like, if it's 3rd and 12 and I'm just trying to make a play, I may as well take a sack, because unless I get the first down, 3rd and 17 and 3rd and 12 are just not that different. So I see your point. Really, I think the only argument with it would be the injury side more than anything. I don't necessarily think that it's detrimental to his reps or his growth. Because I think Caleb Williams, he doesn't seem to be the guy to get like happy feet if somebody better came along and he had a better offensive line and the game plan changed and stuff like that. I think he's smart enough to adjust to whatever he is going to end up seeing long term. But I do get your point, and it's not crazy. But I'll let you rebuttal to that, and then I'll
Yes. So my concern isn't so much mental. Like you initially said, it is more of the physical concern. Although David Carr did start seeing ghosts pretty early on in his career, and you could probably attribute that to being sacked 76 times your rookie year, right? And so we talk about guys like Andrew Luck. The sacks never messed him up mentally. He only survived 7 years in this league. We talk about guys like Cam Newton who put their body in harm's way on purpose, only lasted 8 years in this league, right? And then we talk about a guy like Russell Wilson, who's undersized, fairly mobile, but smart and careful, and he went 9 seasons straight without missing a game. And so what I'm saying is, I remember, I always go back to this Carson Wentz moment. I remember Carson Wentz's rookie year. He had a rush up the sideline, I think it was week 2, and he got the first down, could have stepped out of bounds, but nope, he stepped inside and took a fucking lick from Urlacher. He sprung right back up to his feet because he's 22 years old. I remember going, "Oh, you're not going to survive in this league very long doing that, kid." And that's not even a sack. That's just being cocky with your body. You know what I mean? And this stuff adds up, man. It does add up. So I am concerned, because that should, if my number one thing for Thomas Brown, and, I entertained all the cute discussions, all the Mike Tomlin comparisons, all the different stuff, maybe they went out and this and that. And I was trying to be polite. I should have been a lot more harsh with this than I was. For me, all that mattered is Caleb. And keeping Caleb upright matters a lot to me. 7 sacks? I don't want to put the kid through that, man. Not for the rest of the year.
I get your point, and I'll even frame it from a different lens because I do get the advantage of it. Who cares? You're probably not going to win Rookie of the Year. There's really not much to gain there. Really, like what the cost benefit, right? Is if he plays, all he's getting is really good regular season reps. Here's the other part of it that's realistic, dude. You're not sitting him versus the division. You know what I mean? Like those are also like I would almost understand if you were playing, some 3 NFC West teams to end the year. These reps do matter because you're gonna see them for the next 5 years, hopefully, and hopefully more if he's willing to stay here after that. Because who knows at this point? Those are reps that do matter because those teams are gonna kind of that atmosphere. Those teams are going to stay moderately similar. Stefanski, or not Stefanski, but Kevin O'Connell's not going anywhere. LaFleur's not going anywhere. Dan Campbell's not going anywhere. They're going to attack Caleb similarly and the same for the next 5 years, twice a year. You need those reps. So that's the one thing of why you just can't do it. I would say, right? You just kind of have to give him those reps. He's not going to learn much watching Tyson Bagent. The other part, yeah,
but we have a division rival in the Green Bay Packers that's done this twice now. He's had a quarterback for 3 years. So to sit there and I understand what you're saying too, but I think we put so much value on these in-game reps and so little value on just still being able to learn, even though if you're not in, you know what I mean, in under center right there. I mean, Aaron Rodgers learned, Jordan Love seemed to learn. It's not necessarily detrimental to have a guy learn from the sidelines.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a messy situation. The reason I will say with you that I agree is I also just don't think that this team has any pride left, and I don't know if they ever did. And I think it's almost evident at this point where, I wanted to talk to you about this. We can kind of elaborate on it after Caleb Williams, but I think
no, you had it right into it, man. I don't care.
No. I want to finish the Caleb Williams point as to why I think you're not wrong. I don't think you're crazy for saying it. Maybe you thought I think you were crazier than that, but
no, I'm crazy for different reasons.
Yeah. The reason I don't think it's the same parallel as like Justin Fields or something, right? Was because you brought that point up where I brought it up last year. Like you should just sit Justin Fields and give Tyson Bagent the last 4 games. The reason that made sense then is because you knew you were going to move on from Justin Fields. So you may as well see what you have, right? The may as well see what you have thing this year is like benching Braxton Jones and starting Kieran Amagaje, right? Like that's the equivalent this year where if you know you're not going to pay Braxton Jones and you know he's going to be expensive and he's injury prone and he needs a contract, start that. But Caleb isn't going anywhere. The disadvantage I would say is there's no pride there. There's no like, we're gonna keep Caleb up. We're gonna game plan for him to get good, hard reps here. It's gonna be more throwing shit against the wall for the next 4 weeks and seeing what sticks and Keenan Allen just fucking, running out his last 4 games in Chicago and DJ Moore getting pissed off. It'll be so much more of the same. I think like this was we said it with Thomas Brown where it was, you said it and I said it. I think you said it more, but like, the eye test with Thomas Brown was going to be so important with what he pulled off in the first game. And the first game told me everything I needed to know. He can't get anything special out of these guys. There's no coming back from this. There's no, you know what I mean? There's no 4-game miracle here. There's going to be more of the same. There's no pride here. It's just going to be, again, throwing it against the wall and seeing what sticks, which is a recipe for getting Caleb manhandled and massacred, which is why I agree with you in that sense, because if you're not out there to win games, then don't fucking throw out your first round pick, your first overall pick that you've never had before. You've never had a quarterback prospect like this. And you want to talk about, like you said, how to break it, how to break a quarterback versus make a quarterback. We laughed and we argued and we got so mad about how the Bears always make the same mistakes. And they're making the same mistakes that they made in their own building, for God's sakes, less than 3 years ago. And they still make those mistakes. And they've never had this opportunity to make this mistake, but other teams have, and go back and review that. Like you just said, Derek Carr, right? David Carr was the catastrophe.
David Carr, yes, my bad.
So David Carr. I don't remember, but David Carr, Andrew Luck, like those are your examples. Bryce Young last year. Bryce Young came out broken this year. The team was better. The offense is better. Bryce Young was broken, man. It took Andy Dalton to kind of like right the ship, and then he came back and he looked a little bit better. And now he looks calmer. But like you're breaking these guys when you do this shit. So you're right. I'm
just saying, like if he goes out next game, gets a bad shoulder injury.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just gonna be left blank staring at the TV because it's just like, okay, well, that could have been potentially avoidable. And so there's just one more variable to this little discussion, and then we can move on to Thomas Brown. And you said Caleb Williams isn't going anywhere. That's true. However, Tyson Bagent's last year under contract is next year. There could be a situation in the offseason where a team's quarterback goes down, and Tyson may be an enticing trade piece. Wouldn't there be some type of benefit to put a little bit more on tape for him and give him an opportunity to kind of show a little bit more of what he has for the trade value?
I couldn't agree more, but buddy, I mean, we're talking about a chess move. We're not even playing checkers here. Like, we're talking about planning 2 to 3 steps ahead. We don't even know where the fuck like we're going tomorrow with this team.